This is The Launch, episode 10 for February 18th, 2025. Streaming from the beautiful Pacific Northwest and the mighty American West Coast, we greet you all a good morning, a good evening, or whenever your timeline may fall, time-appropriate greetings indeed to one and all. This is The Launch. My name is Chris.
And I'm Angela.
Hello, Andrews. I think we're going to have a good launch today.
Heck yeah.
Now, just a few things everyone needs to know before the show gets going. The podcast is live on Tuesdays, 11:30 a.m. Pacific, 12:30 p.m. Eastern, and 7:30 p.m. UTC. jblive.tv, or your favorite podcasting 2.0 app of choice, or plug it into your browser, jblive.fm or something. It's just audio. It's real easy. The show officially comes out, or launches, Wednesday mornings. But we invite all of you to join us in our Mumble Room. We have it running before and after the show, and quiet listening during the show. Details at jupiterbroadcasting.com/mumble. Of course, we've got a chat room and more. All of that is linked at the top of the show's website, weeklylaunch.rocks. Now, I am glad that we're now at episode 10 because I messed up. I don't know, this is a bad mistake. We came in at episode 9. We hit the reboot at episode 9, and everybody's like, oh, what? 9 episodes? I got to go back and listen to episode 1. No, they don't. No, they don't.
It wasn't the show.
I unpublished them.
Oh.
I probably broke something doing that.
Oh.
But I kept getting all these questions all week.
Yeah.
Like, I don't get it. I'm like, that's because I'm a moron, and I should have just...
Started with episode 1.
Yeah, I should have just wiped the slate clean and started with episode 1. So technically, I feel like episode 10 is our episode 1. And then, if we can, as the show goes on...
We'll just delete the 0.
We just start pretending like those were super controversial episodes, and we had to pull them, right? We just, build this lore around them.
Okay.
And, then there'll be, in the community that's here early will know. But the newcomers, they won't know the joke. And so we'll we too hot for the internet.
I'm sensing a shirt to this effect.
Okay, yeah. I listened to the first 9 episodes or something.
Yeah.
And I survived, but all I got was this lousy t-shirt. So what have you been following this week?
So I've been doing Duolingo.
Yeah.
Our daughter, Abby, started wanting to learn Spanish. I did German. I did 3 years of German between high school and college.
Right.
And then Hadia started doing Spanish. And then I finally got hooked in. I'm at 834 days.
Yeah, so when you say you've been doing Duolingo, you have been doing.
Well, I've been in maintenance mode for the last year.
Yeah, they do let you kind of just sort of check the boxes.
Yeah. It's something I make sure I do before I go to bed.
Maybe you're part of the problem.
I am part of the problem.
Yeah.
It's gamified.
Yeah.
Right?
They need to bring you back. They need to pull you back in and get you engaged so you're not just checking boxes.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Well, I thought my New Year's resolutions was going to do that, but that did not work out. So, yeah. But they had this whole marketing ploy this last week where they actually killed the fictional character.
Yeah, their logo mascot thing.
Yeah.
Which, all right, kind of clever. You never really see companies do this. I got a little clip for you that talks about it. I'll play it for you. You never see a company go out there and kill its own mascot. And I know it's a marketing ploy, but I got to give them credit. It's a clever one.
If you've been online recently, you've probably seen something the internet has been buzzing about.
Duolingo is dead.
I am on Duo is Dead TikTok.
Why is he dead? Why is he dead?
The death of Duolingo's mascot, the fuzzy green owl known as Duo. The killer stunt sending shockwaves across social media. The language learning app announcing the news in a post that's already amassed more than 100 million views, saying authorities were investigating the cause. But TBH, he probably died waiting for you to do your lesson.
Oh,
but what do we know?
Oh my God, my Shayla!
Companies like Hilton, Chipotle, and even Netflix trying to borrow some of that buzz. Buffalo Wild Wings posting this video showing a trail of Duo's green feathers leading to a tray of its wings, while global pop singer Dua Lipa responding with the words, till death duo part. Even the World Health Organization speculating on the cause of death, writing, one thing we know for sure, it's not smallpox because the disease has been eradicated since 1980.
Random.
But Duolingo now says the cause of death was actually a Cybertruck, asking the public to help identify the suspect.
And now they are selling like dead Duolingo swag, like with X's across the eyes, and they have like dead stuff you can buy.
You can buy the coffin.
Oh my God.
Yeah, except it's sold out, but yeah.
What? It's sold out? God. Did it make you play more? Did it make you train more, I guess?
No. So what's interesting is that I didn't see anything in my app about that, but Android users are seeing the X'd out eyes.
Maybe they got the app update sooner. Could be like the App Store is holding it back for review.
I mean, like what you see over there.
Yeah.
Like I haven't seen anything about Duo dying. I had to find out via the article.
Wow. It's funny that they have him killed by a Tesla Cybertruck, and I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, maybe this is a long stretch, but if this whole thing wraps up with him giving away a Cybertruck or something.
Yeah. Well, I'm like, who hit him with the Cybertruck? Elon? Is
Yeah.
that you? So the article says that some speculated that Duo was faking its demise to avoid legal trouble after making a joke about rapper Drake. And I didn't go down that wormhole because I honestly don't care.
Yeah.
But anyway, I thought it was kind of fun.
It is.
It is so gimmicky and
It is.
yeah.
It is, but I got to give him some style points. I don't recall this. Like, could you imagine just like the Peanuts brand or McDonald's killing off Ronald McDonald for a stunt?
Oh my gosh, that would have been great.
It would be really good. Make him a zombie for a year or something. I don't know. Zombie Ronald. I don't know. Okay, hey McDonald's, if you want to take that idea, let's work something out.
Yeah.
We'll sell it to you for cheap.
Right?
I'm curious if you out there, if you have gotten sucked into Duolingo out there. I can tell a few of you out there in the chat room, live chat, which, by the way, Launch HQ live chat in the Matrix room, definitely have. I've glanced off it a couple of times. I don't know what language I'd want to learn. Spanish would probably be smart, or Mandarin, one of the two. But I don't know. I'm not particularly drawn to it. I'm taking the long term. And that is, I just want everybody else to come around to English.
So I think there's Klingon in there.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
there probably is.
Yeah,
I
like,
do know a
duh.
little Klingon, so I could fill that out. Unfortunately, it lacks some of the more like fun things for like really good compound curse words and insults. Klingon doesn't really offer a lot there. Like kill your mother and that kind of stuff. But, avenge and revenge, but no real good compound. But I was just looking at a statistic that English is becoming a lot more common around the world. Like a lot of places you can travel now, they'll have their local native language and then they'll also have English. So I figure if I just wait another 20 years, everybody else will learn my language.
Perhaps.
All right, so boost in. Tell us if you've gotten sucked into Duolingo. What do you think about the Duolingo stuff? I know some of you actually are out there kind of resent them for their gamification and manipulation with the stuff, but I think that's the world we live in. I don't love it.
Yeah, some of the statements are a bit pushy, and then like
he probably died because you didn't do your Duolingo. Like, wow.
Well, no, just like in the daily before this gimmick, they like if you're doing a friend quest, right? You can nudge your friend, and it'll just send a random message to them, and sometimes they're
like kind of shaming them or something?
Yeah, oh yeah. Like,
oh my gosh.
Don't break up our friendship streak, and just other, like, I don't know. They're just sometimes rude. And I didn't know it until, because I was sending them all the time. And then finally one came to me and I was like, oh, crap. What is it even?
You were blasting people with shame.
Yeah. Yes.
Wow. Okay. Now I'm kind of taking back what I was saying. The more you kind of go into it, the more I'm like, God, I don't want other apps to do this. I don't want this to become like the model that you have to follow in order to have a successful app on an iPhone or an Android phone with a service and a bunch of staff behind it. Because that's really what this is about. Like this, it gets to be a bit much. This is more, that's more pressure than we've ever seen from like a web service or anything really. Mm-hmm. Is it any different though than going to the gym with friends? And you don't go, sometimes they, it's sort of peer pressure. Is it just in a different context? I don't know.
I mean, so I have it set to remind me every morning at 9 a.m. to do my lesson, but I ignore it. So it does become like another Post-it on the monitor that you just never see anymore. But your friends wouldn't reliably text you every day. They would just give up on you.
Yeah, that's true.
So to go to the gym.
Well, then then Duolingo died and you gave up on it. So
I didn't give up.
No, you did, obviously. You did, obviously. All right. Let us know. Send us your magic boost and tell us if you participate in any of these types of things and what your thoughts are about Duolingo and this strategy. We'll be reading them in the next episode. Oh. So I thought we should do a reset since this is our first episode. And we should do an introduction to who the heck is Angela Fisher.
Hey, look, everybody. It's Angela Fisher.
Yay! So I don't actually know if I know the year, but I'm going to say 97, 98 we met.
It was, either 98. I think it was 98.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, it would have been the year of 97, 98, probably. Yeah. I didn't drive yet.
No.
Which that's an interesting story. I might write down the taxi story. That might be fun.
Oh, yeah.
Have we ever told that story on air?
I don't think so.
That's a crazy story.
It is. So, okay, well, you just jumped in.
Yeah, no, we should back up a
yeah.
little bit. We'll get to the taxi story. Yeah, where do you want to start? Where do you think?
Okay, so we met in high school.
Yep.
I was 15.
Wow.
You were 17.
Oh, man, I was such a hound.
Which is even crazier because, spoiler alert, we have 3 kids. Our son is about to turn 16, and our middle child, one of our daughters, is 14 right now. So
they are young.
Literally a year from now is Abby's age is when I met you.
They're so young.
That's crazy.
They're so young. They're still just babies.
I know. It's so weird to me.
Yeah. Although I think people, I know this wasn't that long ago, but it wasn't, people got together a lot more so back in the day, I think, but yeah, that is crazy. So we did what? We were together for almost 10 years before we had kids though. So it was quite a while. Yeah. It was, like a decade of that stuff. And I remember thinking too, like you very early on always wanted 3 kids.
Yes.
I remember oh, okay. All right. Well, that's a lot of kids. How about 1 kid? I tried to talk her down to, how about no kid? Okay, that's off the table. How about 1 kid? Okay, well, if we're going to have 1 kid, we should probably have 2 kids just to balance it out, right?
Mm-hmm. And then we were done.
Yeah. Shh, don't tell her that. She might listen one day.
Oh, she knows. Yeah. She knows.
Poor kid.
It was meant to be.
Yeah, no, she's great.
Bella was meant to be.
Yeah, she really rounded everything out.
Yeah. So we dated until... we got married in 2007.
Yeah.
St. Patrick's Day.
Yep.
And then we had Dylan in 2009.
Yeah.
And then continued to have kids, apparently.
And that was also kind of the time I sort of switched from IT and went to full-time podcasting.
Dude, he set up the green screen like the day after Dylan was born. So we had a studio and we definitely jumped. We clearly did not think this through, but that's okay.
There's a lot to tell.
There is so much to tell. So we had, I wasn't part of it yet, right? You started podcasting with a friend, and basically when we got our first sponsor, which was GoDaddy, we made it an actual business, to track the dollars for the taxes, and then just kind of blossomed from there.
That was about 2008, 2007, 2008.
Mm-hmm. And then, let's see. Yeah. And then we decided to go video, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that was a game changer with the green screen. And I don't know, the
lighting and all of that. It was a big endeavor. And doing live green screen and audio mixing and live streaming it in 2008 was nothing like it is today.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very different game back then. And it was big, hot lights. We turned a third bay garage basically into a studio by wrapping it in movers blankets.
Yep, movers blankets and the green screen and the camera as close to the moving garage door as possible.
Yeah.
That never opened because
the camera's right up to it
and the blankets.
Oh man! But before we go too much further, back when we were still in high school, and it was before I was driving because I waited till I was 17, but I was working already, and so I had some cash. for a kid. And so I thought, well, I'll solve this problem by renting taxis. So Ange and I could go around, see each other, go out places with a taxi service. It was like a local taxi service. And they had something kind of cool. And it was that they were in these super old Mercedes Benzes that were like tanks from like World War II, basically. Just these massive, heavy diesel Mercedes Benzes that they used as taxis. And I don't remember being particularly cheap or particularly expensive.
No, not. I mean, he just wrote checks. He wrote checks for me to buy a cookie for lunch every day. But so here's a thing that he's leaving out. We lived on opposite sides of the town.
Yes,
I lived kind of in BFE.
Yeah.
As it turns out, this taxi place was like 5 driveways away from me.
Which was wild.
It was wild because it's out in the middle of nowhere, like out by a Navy base.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, continue.
So there's a good distance between us. I mean, what? I mean, between my folks' place and your folks' place, 40 minutes?
I was trying to... It is a decent drive.
Yeah, it really is. Because they're literally opposite ends. And so we would use the crap out of this taxi service. And I remember like one day, I don't remember if we discovered because it was near your place or if I tried to book and they didn't answer. But one day the service just sort of disappeared. Mm-hmm. And so Ange kind of had an eye on what was going on since it was near her folks' place. And did you go over there and walk down there? Like what was how did you discover?
I found out from neighbors that lived across from them.
I see. So what she discovered is that they were running a massive international drug ring. And that these Mercedes Benzes were getting lined with coke and other drugs that they could put in the headliners and in the floorboards and anywhere they could stash drugs as they imported these classic international Mercedes.
Plot twist. I knew the whole time. That's why I came over goofy.
Right, yeah. So here we are, 17-year-old and 15-year-old kid driving around in these taxis all the time, getting driven around. And the whole thing is just a front for an international drug operation running 5 doors down from Angela's parents' house.
Yep.
And that's when I was like, when we discovered that, I was like, okay, it's probably time to get the license. It's probably.
Yep.
I think we'll take matters into our own hands. I mean, that was really wild stuff. So yeah, now fast forward, we've built the studio in the house and started cooking on JB as an independent business. And I kind of did like a transition thing where I went from IT to podcast over a period of time as kind of the IT contracts wound down and the advertising wound up. And I think the first show that we really started doing with you on the network was the Faux Show, right? That was really like your first show. We didn't do something before that. And the Faux Show really originated as a way to hang out with the live stream after we were done recording. Jeremy and I would often do Jupiter at Night, which was a show from forever ago. It was a late night show. I don't know how the hell I did late night shows like that. Mm-hmm. I could not do that today.
Yeah,
by 4 o'clock, I'm done.
Yep.
This is like 10 o'clock at night, 8 o'clock at night, right? God, we were young. And so you and Jeremy would hang out and, yak with the live stream and whatnot. And that sort of developed into like you playing clips and stuff and then into the Faux Show.
And just bringing things that are sort of tech, but I don't know, fringe tech, I guess. Something that could relate to a female audience, possibly more
and
so.
Stuff that we weren't covering in the other shows.
Definitely not. Yeah. So Jeremy did like the first 50 episodes with me, and then he went and
got a job at Cryptic Software.
Yeah,
the makers of Star Trek Online.
Yeah. And that's when we didn't have any choice. We had to become like OG influencers, the husband-wife duo, right?
Oh my God, we were!
We were, dude.
And we were doing it on video and live stream
with the lower third of the chat room.
Yeah.
Like we really were.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Faux Show was fun. It was a social experience, as we called it, because we had really. And I know this sounds silly now. I realize this, but well, no. I mean, now it sounds silly to say, well, we have the chat room integrated. Well, yeah, we've been doing that for years in different live streams, and other people do it now. But we really were the first.
Oh, geez.
We really were. So let's see here. I'll play an episode so you can get a sense of it. I don't know if I have any particular one, but I'll play Sarcastic Parents. This is a funny episode.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of The Faux Show. Today is Friday, July 31st. My name is Angela.
And my name is Chris.
And as most of you know, the Faux Show is not a real show. It is a social experience because we have it whenever we want.
Oh, we also have a chat room.
Because I don't look at you. I look at the chat room which I have here on my iPad.
I got a full screen on my screen. Screw that iPad. There you go. We're all about.
That was a use for iPad.
Yeah, there you go. Look at that. And Jeff PJ in the chat room just put a picture of us with the green screen turned off.
Oh yeah.
There you go. There you go.
Was that for the ad that we did for? Was it System 76?
Must have been.
Yeah, I think so.
Good
Look
memory.
at those Faux Show buns. Dang.
Serious buns. Yeah, serious buns. So that was the Faux Show. I think I still have people mention the Faux Show to me that have been around for a long time. Just one of those hundreds of episodes. It's still up on YouTube. And no one's taken that name.
Yeah.
That's also Tech Talk Today hasn't been sniped either.
Huh.
If you go Google search Tech Talk Today, our website still comes up, which is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of I'm jumping ahead here, but so the Faux Show, you did Women's Tech Radio for a while.
Mm-hmm. A couple years.
And then you joined me when I was doing a daily show called Tech Talk Today.
Yep. Oh, and I was featured in at least one Tech Snap.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Probably 2 Linux action shows.
Yeah.
And I think a Linux Unplugged where you guys were trying to convert me to Android.
Oh, that does. Oh, God, that must have been forever ago. That didn't go. That didn't stick.
We had the studio because that's one thing, one gap in our little timeline that we provided. So we moved out of the Third Bay garage and into our first house, which is where we are right now, and converted the master bedroom to this studio.
That was about 2014, I think.
Oh.
I think that.
I don't know.
I think it was about 2014.
Was that in the garage or not? Because
what?
That screenshot. I don't know.
Yeah, that was in the garage.
Okay.
Yeah, that was in the garage. Yeah, I think it was about 2014, which is a really long time.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have time. Doesn't make sense to me.
Do you know how long we've owned the building?
2004.
My God.
I think. Yeah. Yeah.
My God. Jeez, we're getting old. Oh my God, this is making me feel old talking about all this stuff. So Tech Talk Today, what else did I miss? And I know I missed a few other things in there. Just thinking about it from the show standpoint.
Well, I did all the back end operational stuff, of course, right?
I know one thing we could talk about. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
okay. Back end operational stuff.
all the taxes and financial and all of that and social media. That's the
Yeah, really. I actually, where we should have started is you got your start really with Linux Fest. Back in the early aughts, going to Linux Fest with me before we even did podcasting stuff. So that's
I was his note taker.
Yeah, help me with the notes because God knows I need it. That's okay. So then the other thing I just want to mention, of course, is in 2018, JB was acquired by Linux Academy, which was a wild ride, and learned a ton. And then in 19, we went independent again. Is that right?
No,
2020.
2020.
Okay,
August 2020.
August of 2020, we went independent again. And then about a year after that, or 2 years after that, the ad market fell out. No, 3 years after that, the ad market fell out. So that's where we've been since then. But, that I think was a good move at the time because I almost died and I had health insurance like the week I almost died. Mm-hmm. It kicked in, which I don't know what. And my health insurance or my medical coverage bill for a appendectomy where they had to go in and really open me up. They cut me right down the center.
He waited until it not just burst, but then was super infected.
Oh yeah, and rotting away my right hip muscle.
Holy.
Although I don't. Do you know that I did go to the Skagit emergency medical place before I left to have them check me out to see if there's anything wrong because I said, hey, I have a flight on Tuesday.
I didn't.
Yeah, so I went in there and they're like, oh yeah, you're like. Whatever that shows you your immune cells are way up in your system. Like your immune cells are way up, but based on, because I'd had a blood test a couple of weeks ago for something else, based on your blood test from a couple of weeks ago, they're down. So we think you're getting over an infection.
Oh.
And you're okay. So I'm okay to fly? Yep, you're okay to fly.
Fail Skagit.
Yeah, I'll never go back.
Well, you can't go to Cascade.
I don't know where I'll go. Thankfully, I've never.
Right?
I haven't had to worry about this, but they could have caught it then. It would have saved me so much trouble because I went another week.
Yeah.
But I was already, when I went to them, it was probably already had been ruptured for 2.5 weeks. I have this unhealthy inability to listen to my body, and I just keep focused on work and the problems I'm solving and stress, whatever's stressing me out. And I don't really listen to the fact that I'm sick, and so I just kind of plow through. Mm-hmm. Like I'm doing today right now, actually. But, sometimes sometimes the consequences for that is, you need an extra day or two of rest to recover. And sometimes the consequence of that is you almost die in your hotel room, which I was. I was dying in my bed.
Yeah, I kept telling you to go to the hospital, and Dia was on her way, but last minute she booked a flight to go there, and he waited for her to get there, and then he couldn't walk.
I couldn't even get.
Stupid.
I don't know. Like every now and then I just have these weird stomach problems, like I did last night.
Yeah.
So it's not too unusual for me,
for sure. But
I think, it'll pass, and I just triggered it because I had a couple of beers last night. That's what I kept thinking. So dumb. And then of course, so that's like she gets there Friday. Before the Tuesday of the announcement that JB has been acquired by Linux Academy. She gets there the Friday before. Realizes that I'm dead in the bed practically. Takes me to the emergency room. They won't let me leave at that point, which I tried to talk them out of. I'm like, no, you don't understand. I got a really big thing on Tuesday, but I could come in on Wednesday. And they're like, Mr. Fisher, you're going into surgery in the next hour. You're not going anywhere. I'm like, what? Like, how long is this going to take? It's going to take a while. I'm like, okay. And I didn't even get to ask about recovery. And then what I was told would happen is they'd poke me a little bit in my side. They'd go in and, cut things up. And then
right. Best case scenario is what they gave you.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
And it'll be a couple of days of recovery. And then I wake up and I have been stapled together. I don't know. This is how they did it in Texas. They stapled me together and then put tape over it. And then of course I was allergic to the tape. So I figured the insurance company was going to screw me. Screw me. And I did end up paying like $8,000 out of pocket overall, but they covered an extra $100,000 that was out of network.
Oh my gosh.
That they didn't have to cover.
Wow.
So they covered $200,000 worth.
You're expensive.
Well, it's the surgery they did.
I know.
and then like the
Jeez.
6 days or 5 days of medical care recovery care in the hospital that it took was really the expensive part.
Yeah. So at that time, I was actually editing BSD Now.
Yeah.
And I kind of managed what this was going to look like, what the network was going to look like.
Yeah, and how to keep things
depending
running.
on the outcome of your surgery is how I'll say it.
Yeah.
It was a very trying time.
Yeah, like how would we? I don't even know. We've never even thought about how we would message that, how we would communicate that, and even get the word out to everybody.
Yeah.
It's one of the things you don't want to have to think about, I suppose. But we had to think about it that weekend, and the shows went on, which I really appreciated that you guys kept everything going. The guys got together and did Unplugged without me, which is not an easy feat. Unfortunately, I've really built that show kind of around me. But, oh man. And it was so nice to have my wife Adia down there during that. Could you imagine being down there all by myself in Texas in a hospital I don't know? And also, like, she had to advocate for care because they were coming in and checking on me every few minutes with different things and taking blood and checking my oxygen, just all these things. So I could never sleep. And all I wanted to do was sleep. And so she at certain points, she actually stood guard at the door and refused service and said, no, he declined service. He's going to sleep for an hour. And it's the only way you can do it.
Well, we skipped and jumped there. So we moved into the studio.
Yep. Okay, we're going back.
Rakai became our full-time live-in editor,
that was 2014.
Cool.
Yep.
Yeah. And then 2015 is when we separated.
Oh, yep. Okay.
And announced it. I think it is the final faux show episode.
Or one of the final.
Is it? Do we keep doing it after that? I don't know.
I don't know. There might be.
I should have looked that up. I looked up a bunch of other things before.
Yeah, we did.
In preparation.
So faux divorce is faux show 223.
Okay.
And then it kept going until 227.
Okay. So there we go. And then it finalized, at the end of 2015.
And I met Hadia around that time, and I guess the rest is kind of modern history at this point.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. Everybody's like basically caught up. Like that's where we're at now.
Yeah. And we just obviously, I mean, we're still talking. I guess that's sort of obvious.
Obviously,
people hear he's doing a podcast with his ex-wife. How is that possible?
Oh, actually, no. This is funny. So we did the meetup for
LUP 600.
600.
Yeah.
Which is just down the road from this studio. And at one point, Chris said, "Hey, wife." And both of us turned our heads because,
it's easy. It's shorthand. Hey.
Like, right. So I was like, maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I need to. And the next time I didn't turn my head. I waited. I paused. And then I turned.
I'll have to do "Hey, you" next time and just get you both that way. Right?
Yeah, right.
That's my thinking. I don't know if that'll work.
Logical.
And then at the Spokane meetup over the summer, first of all, it's so cool. Well, it's sort of weird to go to a meetup and people know me, but I don't know them, right?
Yeah.
But I'm getting to know them, or like over the years, they keep returning for these meetups. So obviously, I know you now. But at the Spokane meetup, a gentleman came up to me. I introduced myself, and he said, "Oh, Chris mentioned his ex-wife Angela, but I didn't think he was serious that you were both here." His current wife and his ex-wife.
How could that be?
Yeah. And then me and his wife just hit it off, and it was great.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's that's made life easier for the kids too, I hope, as well. Keeping things peaceful and also they just get more people that love them. And they have a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have 3 good kids, and the 2 older ones just went to camp this past weekend. And as a parent, probably know this, but when the kids get back from an event, you just hear all these stories. Some of them you're like, I don't know about that, and some of them are just hilarious. And it's so great when they go do something together, and then they have like a shared experience that we weren't involved with, but they were involved with, and that's a lot of fun. So,
yep.
They got home yesterday from camp, and I had lunch ready for them, and Abby said, "Oh, it's so nice to eat my own food. Oh, the food was so awful there."
Yeah, it was soup. So, like, did you at least try some new things? Yeah. Did you like the soup? Well, I dipped bread in it, but I didn't drink it. That's what Dylan said.
Yeah, a lot of soup. And then I guess a chicken burger, but unfortunately not a fully cooked chicken burger.
Oh gosh, he didn't tell me that, but he did demand Round Table last night.
Did
so we drove to Round Table for dinner.
He had pizza for lunch.
Round Table is anytime.
Yeah, it is such good pizza. It doesn't matter if you had pizza for breakfast and for lunch. All right, well, if you got any questions, if we missed something and you want to know, boost them in, and we'll answer them in a future episode. All right, we got a few new boosts into the brand new rebooted show. And our first one comes from PJ, and he sent us a spooky 6,666 sats.
Well, I'll be dipped.
All right, it says it's boost time. Thank you, PJ. Is there a hidden message in that boost amount there, Jeff? Is there a secret message in 6666?
You keep forgetting to make the clip.
What's the clip? I guess I do.
Number of the Beast clip from Iron Maiden.
Oh, you're right. All right. Well,
write it down.
Did you clip it for me?
Yeah, he has a little notepad here.
All right.
Having him write it down.
Oh, I clipped it and sent it, but I'll send it over again.
All right, you sent it to me
when
again.
I'm back on my desktop.
All right, Jeff. Clip. All right, I'm writing it down. Ange can verify I wrote it down.
Yep, he wrote it down.
Thank you, PJ. Appreciate that. And hopefully we'll have a new musical note to go with it, or a new, I don't know what we call them, boost sound. Our podcast is in with 9,000.
It's over 9,000!
100 sats. He says, very excited for the launch. Whoop, 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 whoop. This is a test launch for my self-hosted AlbiHub, powered by Nix, running on a VPS with Tailscale.
Wow.
I hope it makes it to Jupiter Broadcasting's orbit. It did. That's amazing, our podcast. This is becoming a go-to setup. Is what you can do is you can run a Lightning or Bitcoin node on your private LAN. Don't have to open up your inbound ports. Don't have to worry about your ISP. You set up a VPS over Tailscale, and then you forward the traffic to your LAN node. It works really, really good. A lot of people are doing it. And there's a guide out there that listener Gene Bean created that you can go find in This Week in Bitcoin. And speaking of Gene Bean, he's here with 4,049 sats. No, I'm sorry, 409 sats. Doge has been an S show. I've got no qualms with reviewing things so long as it's done within the bounds of the law. The problem is that's not what's happening. Like Brent, okay. So I guess that's what point 1. All right. Point 2, like Brent, I've never used ChatGPT for anything. Really not even to check it out? Oh, he's also not a big fan of the in-vehicle pop-up ads. I saw other people talking about that after we did.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what I would do if my vehicle ever started doing that, Gene. I feel like I'd probably replace the head unit, right? You'd just go get an aftermarket head unit.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if you bought the car and they didn't disclose that either? I just feel like that'd be awful. Thank you, Gene. User 6037164 comes in with 10,200 sats.
Oh my god, this drawer is filled with Fruit Loops!
Oh, I'm going to read this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I forgot who said it. Okay, yeah. Oh, user, I'll just correct you. You reverse numbers.
Yeah.
User 6307164 writes, I think it's bold AF to put a politically charged show in the JB feed. Well, it's not politically charged, but okay. I mean, just because the main subject, happens to be...
Well, I don't even know if it was
tech.
the main. We mentioned Doge last week. That's what they're...
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, best of luck to you guys. By the way, Angela, it's been 22 years. Time to update Mom Vault.
Wow, that's an OG callback.
Oh, and then 22 years. See, this is why I failed math. Because, yeah.
User 63, if you go into Fountain, you can change your profile name so we can see your name. I'd love to hear you, read your name. I don't know. My brain's failing me, but I'd love to hear from you. Again, thank you very much. Appreciate that boost. Another long timer, Mr. Turd Ferguson's here with 8,000 sats.
Turd Ferguson!
Do you guys miss doing video, listener, since the social experience?
Woohoo!
Hey.
Faux show call out.
Yep. Do you miss doing video?
do.
Do you?
Yeah. I mean, this is fun and all, but I keep thinking, like, they can see us.
Oh, yeah.
Because we did do some, like, behind the scenes as opposed to, like, a curated green screen, fully professional thing. So, yeah.
I don't miss the production aspect of video, but I do think the shareability of video is higher and that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I'm on the fence on it. I think if we ever did, I'd like to have a crack at, getting decent cameras and then creating content for it. Thank you, Turd. Thank you, everybody who boosted in. We had 4 of you stream sats, so we stacked 9,754 sats by streaming. And 5 of you who boosted in, so combined all together, the show stacked 48,129 sats, which is not too bad for a brand new show. If you'd like to boost in, you can. Just get Fountain FM or something like Breeze and stack them sats. I have probably, I don't know, I don't know if I have one more story because I'm just not feeling very well. I wanted to get into this one because there's a blog post going around that Value for Value is a scam. And it's a really kind of, well... it's one of these situations where a podcaster doesn't get success, they kind of burn out, and then they kind of blame everybody else but themselves kind of post. I might save it for next week, because I don't think I'm up for it. I'm just not feeling very well.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I saw it in there, and I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's one that's going to get me all worked up.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to get worked up today, because I'm just barely hanging in there as the show goes on, I'll tell you what. But I do think it's kind of, there was one kind of out there story that I have a different take than everybody else that I thought maybe we'd talk about before we run. So we'll wrap it up with a story about something strange deep at the bottom of the ocean that has scientists completely baffled after they discovered a mysterious radioactive blip.
Scientists recently discovered a surprising radioactive blip deep in the Pacific Ocean. Sediment samples dating back 10 million years showed unusually high levels of beryllium-10, an isotope normally formed when cosmic rays interact with Earth's atmosphere. Instead of the steady rate scientists expect, there was a sudden spike, hinting at a dramatic event. One theory points to shifting ocean currents around Antarctica. Another suggests an astrophysical trigger, maybe a nearby supernova, or Earth's passage through a dense interstellar cloud that briefly stripped away the heliosphere's protection. Researchers now want to see if this spike happened worldwide, which could help match up geological records from different parts of the planet.
So they find this radioactive blip in their tests, and then they go back to historical records and seabed samples that date back 10 million years ago. And they can see evidence of this beryllium spike around starting about 10 million years ago. And they don't know what this blip in the Pacific seabed is caused from, because for this kind of concentration of beryllium-10, it's at twice the expected levels if we have an atmosphere. If we have a working atmosphere, then this deposit is twice what they would expect to find.
Mm-hmm.
I like the chat room. They're cooking right now. Magnolia Mayhem says maybe it's an asteroid impact. Like an asteroid, wedged itself at the bottom of the ocean and it's got something in the core of it. Some think it could be like we got blasted by like a supernova gamma ray blast or something like that, and it just punched us, which is totally possible.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 10 million years ago, the heliosphere was lost for a bit, and so it's possible for this to get collected. But I have a different theory.
Something lives
in the
middle of the Earth.
I think did. I think it is the warp drive of an alien spacecraft.
Oh my goodness.
You like that?
Yes.
Yeah.
My first thought when I read this earlier was advanced civilization.
Yeah.
For sure. Advanced civilization with access to more resources and materials and chemicals
and
or whatever.
Maybe like generating power down there or something.
Something.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. Well, what if, think about it. If you're an alien spaceship and you crash at the bottom of the ocean, you think this is the planet. It's mostly water. So why not just build your civilization there? And you use your spaceship as the core power plant for your city. Because if you can generate something that folds space, it can probably power a city. So you just convert that into your city power plant, and then you build around it. And then, maybe they're there, maybe they're not. If I were going to, predict, I'd say they're not there. They died off. We would have heard from them, maybe like something collapsed, something. But the power core of what was once an alien ship that is now the generator of a city remains at the bottom of the ocean.
So the pyramids could be monoliths.
Okay.
If we dig down.
Oh.
How deep would we need to go to possibly see if there's beryllium-10 there?
All right. Okay. I like the idea that there's a pyramid down there. This whole thing is getting me more and more excited the more I think about it.
No, not a pyramid down there.
No, I know.
The pyramid is the top of the monolith. Yeah,
I know, I'm just saying.
All right.
What if there were underwater pyramids?
Yeah, there's so much that we don't know under the water.
Mm-hmm. It is, as they say in Sequest, the next frontier. Our podcast joined us in the live chat room. He said he was hoping to join Mumble, but he couldn't wait to get his key registered. Oh, that is tricky. And the push to talk can be tricky in Wayland to our podcast, but I think the chat room will probably give you some tips there. One trick with the Mumble Room is you can always practice ahead of time and then join us on Sunday as well for Linux Unplugged. We also use the Mumble Room for that. And if you get it working for one show, then you can join us for all the shows. And we'd love to see you, assuming I survive. Jeez. And I got 2 shows tomorrow, too. I don't know how I'm going to do it. Alex is out and traveling. He's going to be live from a hotel room, which I don't know if we've ever done that for self-hosted.
It could be mattress in the closet.
Yeah, get your mattress ready. All right, well, links to what we talked about, including that blip down at the bottom of the ocean, all of that and more are at weeklylaunch.rocks. That's also where you're going to find our chat room and information about the show and a contact page, too. Of course, we'd love to have you boost and message us that way, and we'll read it on a future episode. I think that's everything for us, Andrews, because I'm kind of fading, and I want to get out of here before I've completely faded. I'll save some of the stuff we had for next week's episode, because you know what? Another Tuesday will come, and there'll be another launch. Andrews, thank you for joining me.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you, everybody out there, for joining us. We hope to see you next week, and from the beautiful Pacific Northwest and the mighty American West Coast, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.